Who's hungry? The deli's open. Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Marco's Deli, powered by WagerTalk.com. We've been rolling on the show, guys. I hope you've been enjoying it. Another big week last week on the show. We went 4-1, and that brings the season record to 8 winning episodes, 2 losing episodes, and 1 break even, or 27-17 overall with all of our selections, including that 8-1 run for the season on the NFL play. Let's get to this week's show. 5 more big winners for you. I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. It really helps it out when you guys give us that thumbs up or leave us a comment. It helps the algorithm for the channel, and we want as many people to benefit from Marco's Deli as possible. So again, thank you for helping us out with that. Let's get right into this week's show and start it off with Duke at Connecticut. Now, guys, we're taking a look at this one, and it's all about fading Duke in this one. They're coming off a shootout last Saturday where they upset Clemson, winning 46-45. Now, even though Clemson is having a down year, beating a perennial powerhouse, the class of the conference like Clemson has been for so many years, that's a huge deal for Duke. So clearly, we're going to put Duke on the fat and sassy alert situation coming off that big win. And if you take a look what Duke has on deck. Next week, they play number 14 Virginia, the top team in the conference this year in the ACC. So how does Duke not look past Connecticut? Well, it's going to be tough for them to do that. And I think this is a dangerous spot for them to be laying as many points as they're laying on the road. Yeah, Duke can score a ton of points. We know that. But the problem is, as fast as they score points, they can give them up that fast as well. And they're going to be laying 9.5 on the road to a UConn team that has scored 31 or more points in 7 of their 9 games this year. I think Connecticut is a very live dog here. I think this one's going to be another barn burner that goes right down to the wire, and that has me lining up to take Connecticut plus the points as play number 1. Play number 2 this week on the Deli, we're going to take a look at Nebraska at UCLA. Nebraska did everything last week except win the game. They played their guts out against USC. Now, normally I'd be coming on here and wanting to fade Nebraska off of a big game like that. That was a top 25 matchup against USC, and they came up just short. In fact, they led the game most of the way before losing at the end. Well, the reason I'm not going to use the lose the same game twice angle is they're traveling to UCLA. This is a big deal. Even though UCLA is having a down year, playing UCLA for the first time in the Big Ten on the road in their stadium is a big deal for Nebraska. And the other reason why I don't think they're going to have that hangover effect from last week is they lost their starting quarterback in the game last week. Dylan Raiola broke his leg last week and is gone for the season. That means we got the injured player theory. The rest of this team is going to be pumped up and play at a higher level to compensate for the loss of Raiola. And the quarterback that's going to take over, TJ Lateef, is a quarterback that's seen some action this year. He's gotten into 3 games, and he's completed 16 of 19 passes for 261 yards. So he's got a little bit of experience. He is a true freshman. He's a dual threat quarterback. They will have a game plan devised to his strengths. And he's got a whole week to get the first team reps. He'll be better prepared when he comes to start this game. The other added factor is he is from California. He went to high school in California. So this is a big deal for him to get his first collegiate start in California at UCLA in that historic stadium. I'm going to go ahead with Nebraska. They've got the better defense here. I like what this team has done all year. I'm going to take Nebraska. And, what's the final reason? Take a look who UCLA plays next week. That's right. They're coming off playing Indiana last week. Yeah, they got their doors blown off, but they played the top-ranked, or highly ranked, I should say, Indiana last week. Next week, they get the top-ranked team. They get Ohio State. You talk about a sandwich. Let's go ahead and take Nebraska as play number 2 here on the Deli. Play number 3, well, we're going to put the old trap alert out here for this one. San Diego State travels to Hawaii. Now, San Diego State has been the big surprise this year in the Mountain West Conference. Is coming into the season, everybody thought this was going to be a 2-horse race between Boise State and UNLV. And until a couple weeks ago, it was shaping up that way. But San Diego State has something else to say about that. They're 7-1 overall on the season and undefeated in conference play. But this is a dangerous spot for them. Is San Diego State has to travel to Hawaii this week. That's always a tough assignment for the teams in the Mountain West Conference going to play at Hawaii. But the big reason why it's an added problem this year is look at who San Diego State plays next. That's right. They've got the showdown for the Mountain West Conference title next week when they play Boise State. They get Boise State in their stadium, and if they win that game, San Diego State will win the Mountain West Conference. That is a huge look-ahead spot, a huge trap situation for them here. I've got to go with the home dog here, Hawaii. Got to point out as well, San Diego State, this is going to be their 3rd road game in the last 4. A lot of travel for San Diego State, and heading to Hawaii, this is a problem spot for them. We're going to trust the system, or I should say the situation, and we're going to take Hawaii plus the points. Now, before we get into the last 2 plays on this week's Deli, I want to remind you guys that we've got a couple specials going on over at WagerTalk. As always, we've got that Weekend Warrior package, $49. That'll get you all of my football plays Saturday and Sunday, college and pro. And if I have a Monday night football play, you get that thrown in free as well. $49 for that package. I got a better deal for you. If you love the 2-day package for $49, how about I give you 7 days for just $15 more? Yep, this week it is my birthday, and every year we do it. I have my annual birthday bash week where you can pick up 7 days for the price of my birthday. Yep, we turned 64 today, actually on Thursday, and you can pick up the entire week, 7 days, not only of my football selections, but all of my plays, basketball, hockey as well. You get everything for 7 days for just $64. It also includes any 5% plays. Those 5% plays, they are 35-16 after we had our big winner last Saturday on Texas Tech. I'm going to have a 5% play again this weekend. And last 7 days, what have we done? Well, we're 11-3-1 with all of our plays over the last 7 days. That's resulted in a profit of $2,243 over the week period. Just a $69 investment gets you 7 days of action for me. Head on over to WagerTalk.com right now to check out that deal. Or if you want to go directly to my homepage at WagerTalk, just go to wt.buzz/MD. And guys, while we're here, once again, give us that thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. I appreciate it. Drop me a comment in the comment section. I love when you guys talk about the games. Tell me which games you like, which games you don't like, and shout out to where you're from. I like to hear where everybody's watching us from. So appreciate if you guys could help us out with that. And if you want to make sure you never miss a video from us, so hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it'll notify you every time there's a new video at WagerTalk TV. All right, guys, let's get to those last 2 winners. Let's keep this winning streak rolling along here on Marco's Deli. And we're going to take a look at Wake Forest at Virginia. Virginia, I think they're in a bad scheduling spot this week because they're returning home from a cross-country game last week playing at California. Now, guys, with this ACC schedule, having those two teams out on the West Coast, Stanford and California, it's just really silly when an East Coast team's got to go West Coast or a West Coast team's got to come East Coast. It takes its toll on these teams. So I think you've got Virginia coming back home in a bad spot this week. Want to look to fade them. Another reason I want to look to fade them is Virginia is the number 14 team in the country. They're undefeated in the ACC. This is a team that is favored by under a touchdown. Now, we're seeing the line start to move to 7, but it had been sitting at 6.5 all week long. How do you have a team that's ranked 14th in the country playing a team that's unranked and is coming off getting blown out in their last game, 42-7, under a touchdown? What's even more suspicious about this game is the fact that Wake Forest last week was on the road at Florida State. They were plus 11.5 to Florida State. Florida State is just 4-4 on the season, 1-4 in the ACC, compared to Virginia, 8-1 overall and 5-0 in the ACC. How can Virginia be laying less? Well, either this is the biggest gift that the Vegas bookmakers are passing out, or it's a trap game. And I'm telling you, it's a trap game for Virginia. They're begging you to take Virginia in this one. I'm not falling for the trap. Virginia is not as good as their ranking. Wake Forest is not as bad as last week's performance against Florida State. And don't forget, when they went to play Florida State last week, they were coming off upsetting SMU the week before. Remember, SMU was a team that played in the ACC championship last year and was a team that played in the national playoffs last year. So that was a big win 2 weeks ago for Wake Forest. I look for them to return to that form this week and to give Virginia all they want in this one. I'm grabbing the points with Wake Forest for play number 4. And for the final play this week, we're heading to the NFL, 8-1 on the season with these plays here on the Deli. And we're going to take a look at the New York Giants at Chicago. Chicago is 5-1 in their last 6 games. But if you're a Bears fan, before you start running to order your playoff tickets, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Those 5 wins came against Dallas, the Raiders, Washington, New Orleans, and Cincinnati. All 5 of those teams have 2 things in common. They all have losing records, and they all have bad defenses. The Giants have lost 3 in a row. I get it. But look at who they played. They played Denver, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. Those are 3 teams, all with winning records, 3 teams with very good defenses, and 3 teams that are going to make the playoffs most likely. I think Chicago is overvalued here. I think they're actually kind of counterfeit, in my opinion. Caleb Williams is still too inconsistent for me, and that defense is just not good. Chicago was in that crazy game last week, 47-42, and people are going to just knee-jerk reaction and say, hey, man, look, they put up 47 points last week. The Giants aren't going to be able to keep up. No, I'm not buying that. I can't lay points with a defense like this, as bad as Chicago's has been. And take a look at who they play next week. Chicago plays division rival Minnesota. This is just a horrible spot for Chicago, returning home, laying a number, and they're laying one of those numbers in the NFL where you're in that no man's land, where you're looking at 4.5 to 5.5 home favorite. It's over the field goal, but it's under the touchdown. Most people look at that when you see those numbers, that 4.5, 5, and 5.5, and they want to gravitate to the favorite. I found more often than not, the dog is live in that price range because it looks too easy. You're saying, hey, they're over a field goal. They're supposed to win, but it's under a touchdown. I don't have to score a touchdown to win this one. Yeah, we're going to go ahead, take the New York Giants plus the points for play number 5. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's Marco's Deli. I enjoy doing these videos for you guys. I love sharing what I've learned over 4.5 decades in this business. Let's cash some more tickets this week. And if you want to join me for my premium plays, head on over to WagerTalk.com. Grab that 7-day birthday bash package, just $64. Get every play I have, including that big 5% play that we've got going this week. Hopefully it'll be as easy as last week's 43-20 blowout winner on Texas Tech -7 last week. And remember, those games sell for $35 by themselves. You can pick up 7 full days for just $64. Until next week, guys, good luck and let's cash some tickets. See you next week.